14. Nicole. I flop the slice of cheese pizza onto my plate. It doesn't taste the way pizza should. It's bland, with crust that has the consistency of cardboard. Although the cheese is gooey and greasy, it brings me no joy. My taste buds are barely registering it as food, and I know it has nothing to do with the quality of the pizza. It has to do with the video of Emma Harper. I think everything is going to taste different now. Michael sits at the other end of the table, chewing on his second slice. Maybe it tastes the same to him. He swigs from a can of PBR after every 2 bites, so perhaps he's just forcing it down. Beth's eaten 1 slice, but stopped short of the crust. She's never liked the crust, the crunchiest, hardest part of the pizza that offers nothing more than cooked dough. I think that people dislike something for one of 2 reasons. We truly dislike it, or we dislike it because it gives us an opportunity to value something else more. And when you don't have much in life, there isn't much you're able to detest before you run out of things to, well, detest. So, Beth chose crust. Michael chose this town. And I chose myself. I sip from a cup half filled with the red wine Beth found in one of the cupboards. It tastes like vinegar, but I don't mind. My veins tingle. They always do now. A needle sliding into one that hasn't collapsed yet would be divine. It would make all my problems go away. One bump would erase the guilt, the pain, the grief. I know Michael and Beth are thinking about the VHS tape, but I wonder how disgusted they would be if they knew what was going through my mind. I need to distract myself before my thoughts lead to action. So I look to Beth. So, you're hanging out with Lucas tomorrow morning? Think that's a good idea? I ask. I don't know what good is anymore, she says with a shrug and sips from her glass. It's filled with warm Seagrams. She didn't even add ice. And I'm sure she's just trying to numb the pain. I shift in my chair, refolding my legs into a pretzel. Are you going to tell him about the video? I don't know, she says, staring into her glass. Michael leans back in his chair. We need to really think about what we're going to do. Beth's eyes dart to him. What do you mean? I mean, do we keep Mom and Dad's secret? Or do we tell someone? It would give Lucas and Susan closure, Beth says. I squint at her. Will it, though? Or will it bring them more pain? Knowing it wasn't a stranger who killed Emma. It was their neighbors, their friends. Wouldn't you give anything in the world to know what happened to Dad? She asks. If you would have asked me an hour ago, I'd say yes. I lower my head, staring down at my lap. But after seeing what Mom and Dad did, I'm not so sure I want to know what happened to him. Dad said it was an accident on the tape, Beth argues. Michael rolls his eyes. Yeah, let's trust the guy that ran out on his family. He's still our dad. Her voice comes out meek and unconfident. Just because you're a parent doesn't mean you can't do bad things. Ted Bundy had a daughter, and so did the BTK killer. I'm sure their children told themselves, but he's our dad, he could never. Anyone can do anything at any time, I say, staring directly at my sister. You're not seriously comparing Dad to 2 of the most notorious serial killers in the world. She scoffs and shakes her head. I'm just saying, I shrug. Beth bites at her pinky nail, ripping off a sliver of it. She pulls it from her teeth and flicks it away. I think we should tell Susan. She deserves to know. It'll probably kill her, Michael says. He's right, I add with a nod. But it's the right thing to do, Beth says, though there's very little conviction in her voice. This is one of those situations where there isn't a right or wrong answer. You just have to pick one and convince yourself later that it was the best decision at that time. My eyes swing to Michael. What do you think? I'm not sure. Because we don't really know what happened. We know enough, Beth says. Each word comes out slow and punctuated. Michael drops his gaze to the beer clutched in his hands. I think we have to consider the ramifications this would have on us and on Mom and Dad before we make any decisions. What do you mean? Beth's eyes are slits. Think about it, Beth. Do you want to be known as the daughter of Brian and Laura Thomas, the couple that may have killed a child and then got rid of the body? If this gets out, you'll never be anything else. Michael swigs his drink. I don't care, she says. Well, I do. He sets the beer bottle down with a little force. It thuds against the table. I'm about to agree with Michael, but Beth cuts in. Oh, screw off, Michael. You'll scurry back to your big home in California, sip your expensive fucking scotch, and go on with your life, never having been affected by this just like you did before. He hangs his head. A single tear runs down his cheek. It falls slowly, like a person trudging through land that has never been traversed. It zigzags a little, touches the corner of his lip, then dribbles the rest of the way to his chin, clinging to his jawline, refusing to drop. I agree with Michael, I say. I don't want to be known for that. It's a step up from being a junkie, Beth mutters. I stand abruptly from my seat, sending the old wooden chair reeling backward. It smacks against the hardwood floor, causing one of the spindles to crack and break into 2 pieces. Screw you, Beth. You think you're so great? You work on an assembly line, putting bags of frozen vegetables into boxes. Your own daughter won't even talk to you, so I'd say it would be a step up for you, too. Don't you fucking dare talk about my daughter, you crackhead! Beth shouts, pointing her finger at me. Enough! Michael slams his fist against the table, startling the both of us. Beth's eyes are wide and her mouth is partially open like she's about to yell at him, too. But she doesn't. Michael's tear has disappeared, either fallen onto his shirt and absorbed by the expensive material, or evaporated into thin air. I take a deep breath, pick up the broken chair, and retake my seat, leaving the splintered spindle on the floor. Fighting with each other isn't going to help. Let's just finish going through everything, and if we find enough to give us an idea of what actually happened to Emma or where her body is, we'll report it. If not, we'll move on with our lives and forget we ever saw that tape, he says with a firm tone. Beth closes her mouth and purses her lips. Michael's eyes flick between us. Deal? I nod because that sounds right to me. Why tell anyone when we really don't have much to tell? Michael looks to Beth, waiting for a response. She chugs the rest of her drink and sets the glass down with force. Fine, she says reluctantly. And if we find nothing, we take it to our graves, just like Mom did, right? He adds, ensuring she agrees and understands. Beth stares back at him with slightly narrowed eyes. Okay. The word comes out raspy, with very little conviction. I'm not sure I believe her. She's never stopped loving Lucas, even when she was married, even after all these years, and even though she hadn't seen him in more than a decade before today. I trust Michael, though. He'll honor whichever way this goes. Good. We're all in agreement, then. He nods. I leave the table and make my way to the living room where the box labeled Journals is located. It's one of the few things left specifically to me. What are you doing? Beth calls out. If there are any clues as to what happened to Emma Harper, it'll be somewhere in here, I say, as I take a seat on the floor and pull open the cardboard box. She delivers the faintest smile, as though she's thanking me for helping her. But I'm not doing this for her. I'm doing it for me.
15. Laura. June 15th, 1999. It's just after noon, and the sun is set high in the sky, shining bright on our little event. Perfect weather for a perfect day. I slip 8 $1 bills into the cash box and smile back at a family of 4 I've never met before. They collect their raffle tickets and make their way around the admission booth to the park. A hand taps my shoulder. "Great turnout," Susan says, beaming. Her blonde hair stops an inch below her chin, and her blue eyes look like 2 robin eggs sitting in a nest, waiting to hatch. We've been next-door neighbors since 1990, when she, her husband, and their 2 children moved into the house across the street. I remember liking Susan right away. She has one of those warm personalities that makes you feel like you're standing directly under sunlight, even when you're not. I nod and glance out at the park. It's around the size of a football field, located in the center of town, sprinkled with large ash and white oak trees. Today, it's buzzing with people and excitement. The Grove feels like one of those big cities I've seen in movies and TV shows. Hundreds of people from surrounding towns have descended upon our small, unincorporated community to attend the Groovin' in the Grove fundraiser. "Can't believe we pulled it off," I say, looking around, trying to take it all in. There are carnival games, food stands, a rickety roller coaster ride for children, and a tilt-a-whirl. A clown inflates balloons, twisting them into swords and poodles for the kids. Brian's voice, amplified by a microphone, cuts through all the noise. He calls out B9 as 10 tables full of people all ages focus on their player cards, marking their bingo sheets with dabbers. "You pulled it off." Susan bumps her shoulder against me. "Couldn't have done it without you." "I think you could have, but I'll accept the compliment." She laughs, crinkling up her nose. "Hey, let's get a quick photo," I say, gesturing for her to come closer. I remove the thick strap hanging from my neck. It's attached to a Nikon 28 Ti camera. Not one we could afford. Brian surprised me with it last Christmas. I told him to take it back, that it was too much, but he claimed to have lost the receipt. I knew he was lying. He's always been a terrible liar. But he was lying for my sake because he knew I'd never spend that kind of money on myself. So I let him lie to me, and I kept the camera. "Cheese," I say, holding it out as far as I can from us. We stand next to one another, arms wrapped around each other's shoulders, and smile. The camera clicks and makes a winding noise. I loop the strap back around my neck, letting the camera hang freely just above my belly button. "I want a copy of that," Susan says. "Of course. I'll make sure to get double prints." She thanks me, and we turn to observe the park again. I spot Nicole dressed in a Nirvana tee and jean cutoffs that used to be a nice pair of pants. One of her father's flannel button-downs is tied around her waist. She counts down for the start of a sack race, while a line of children, and even some adults, stand shoulder to shoulder waiting for her to say go. Their hands clutch the potato sacks, holding them up to their waist, feet and legs snuggled inside. Nicole started the counting at 20 rather than 3 like we talked about, and people are starting to groan. Finally, she says, "Go," and the competitors hop forward. "Look at Emma," Susan beams. My eyes find her daughter, wearing a Britney Spears tee and a determined look. She quickly takes the lead, smiling and laughing, while others fall behind or fall to the ground. "Go, Emma!" Susan cheers. "She's fast," I say. "Yeah, I can barely keep up with her most days." Susan chuckles and claps for her daughter. Christy Roberts gets a burst of momentum and catches up to Emma. She's got 5 years and over a foot on her, so she has the advantage, but Emma is beyond intent on winning. The two are neck and neck, that is, until Christy slips and tumbles face first into the grass. Emma's blonde hair blows in all directions as she crosses the finish line, taking first place. She hops out of her potato sack, and Nicole holds up her arm, declaring Emma the Groovin' in the Grove sack race champion. I scan the park again, searching for my other two children. Although Michael is at the far end with his back turned toward me, I know it's him. I can spot my children from anywhere, regardless of the distance, even if my eyes were blindfolded. Mothers just know. He's in the fenced-in petting zoo, feeding a baby goat hay pellets. In the far right corner of the park, a local band kicks off their set with Chattahoochee by Alan Jackson. The stage they're performing on was supplied by the local Boar's Nest dive bar. Bartenders serve cold beer from fresh kegs, while people swig from their solo cups, swaying and dancing to the music. "Mom! Mom!" Emma calls out, running full speed at Susan. "Look what I've won!" She holds up her hand, showing off a first-place blue ribbon. A mood ring, colored orange, sits loosely on her slender finger. "Wow! You gotta display this proudly," Susan says, pinning the ribbon to her daughter's t-shirt. "We saw you out there." I raise an eyebrow and smile. "You even beat a few teenage boys." "And they say boys are stronger than girls." Emma giggles and slaps her knee. "The egg toss is about to start. Are you playing?" Susan points to a group of people halfway across the park, who are in the process of pairing up and filing into two lines. "Yeah, I'm going to collect all the blue ribbons today," Emma says with a firm nod. She has the confidence of a girl 3 times her age, and I can already picture her taking on the whole world one day. "You better get out there and find a partner then," Susan says, giving her a pat on the back. Emma turns on her heel and bolts toward the egg toss, switching between a casual skip and a full-on sprint. I scan the park again, looking for my oldest daughter, hoping she hasn't run off with her boyfriend. "Have you seen Beth or Lucas?" I ask. "Not since earlier when we were setting everything up. They should be around here somewhere," she says, flicking her hand. Susan doesn't worry like I do, and I envy her for that. She hasn't encountered loss like I have, so she can't fathom it. But I know the worst things always happen in an instant, and once you've experienced it, you'll forever be on the lookout, bracing yourself for it to happen again. It's both a blessing and a curse because it forces you to live in the moment while also fearing the next. Susan places her hand on my shoulder. "Why don't you go and mingle? It's my turn to watch admissions." "Are you sure?" "Yeah, go. I'll be fine." "All right. I won't be long, and I'll bring you back a corn dog," I say. "A beer would be great, too." She laughs, but I know she's serious. I head deeper into the park, exchanging greetings and smiles with several people from the Grove. Many compliment the event, and I respond the same way to each of them, that I couldn't have done it without all the volunteers, donations, and the others who helped organize the whole thing. A hand taps my shoulder, startling me. I turn to find Nicole. "Can I hang out with my friends now, Mom?" Her arms are folded across her chest, her way of telling me she's over this. Nicole wasn't one of my willing volunteers, but she agreed when I promised to buy her that new Blink-182 CD she's been wanting. I scan the park again. Michael isn't near the petting zoo anymore. I spot him lining up for the egg toss game. Brian calls out B4 to a group of bingo players. He adds, "I hope one of you wins before the keg taps out." It garners a handful of chuckles. I shake my head and laugh at his cheesy joke. "Mom!" Nicole groans, stealing my attention. "Where's your sister?" "How the heck am I supposed to know? She's probably off getting jiggy with Lucas." I give her a stern look and let out a heavy sigh, hoping she's yanking my chain and there's no truth to it. Beth is almost 17, and I know how teens can be, but I'm just not ready for my little girl to grow up yet. Scrutinizing the park once more, I finally spot Beth. She's slow dancing with Lucas in front of the stage, while a local band performs Amazed by Lone Star. Her hands are draped around his neck, and his arms are wrapped around her waist. They sway back and forth to the music, their eyes never leaving one another. It may be young love, but that doesn't mean it's not real love. I looked at Brian the same way at her age, and still do. I hold up the camera, placing my eye over the viewfinder, and snap a photo of the two of them, and then a few others. An egg splatting against Michael's chest, Brian pulling a ball from the bingo machine, and Nicole grimacing right in front of me. Mom, stop being a buzzkill. I release the camera, allowing it to hang from its strap again and focus on my wild child. So, can I hang out with my friends now? Fine, but make sure you're home before dinner and keep an eye on your brother. Yeah, she mutters as she runs toward a table full of teens her age. They're dressed similarly to her, grunge as they call it. I only recognize one of them, a boy named Casey Dunn. He and Nicole have been friends since middle school, and he seems to be a good influence on her. The rest of them I'm not so sure. Mom, Michael whines, stealing my attention. Egg yolk is splashed across his shirt. Look what they did, he says, gesturing to the mess. There are tears in his eyes, but they don't escape. He is trying not to cry. Oh, honey, I say, getting eye level with him and patting his shoulder. Why don't you go home and change quick? Just throw the dirty shirt in the washing machine and I'll take care of it later. But I'm going to miss the water balloon toss, he groans. No, you won't. And bring another shirt just in case, I tease. He stomps his foot, letting his head fall forward. I place my hand under his chin, lifting it, and promise him cotton candy when he returns. That garners a smile and gets him moving. He takes off across the street and down our road. I can see the mailbox from here, so I keep an eye on him until he reaches the driveway. Hey, babe, Brian calls from behind me. I turn to find him holding 2 cups of beer and wearing that boyish grin I fell in love with 20 years earlier. Dressed in a white t-shirt and a pair of Wrangler jeans, he closes the distance and leans down, planting a warm kiss on my lips. A swarm of butterflies flap their wings inside my stomach. Brian always has that effect on me. I'm proud of you, he whispers. Thanks, I say, smiling up at him. He hands me a beer. The thick, foamy head clings to my lip when I take a gulp. Need any help? He asks. I look past him out at the park. My eyes land on Charles, a tall, gangly man with a horseshoe mustache, long, thin hair, and a slight hunchback. He's in his 40s and lives on the corner of our street. Not only is he an eyesore, but so is his yard, which is filled with run-down vehicles he refuses to get rid of. He stands alone, staring at a group of teen girls who are attempting to create a human pyramid. A beer is clutched in one hand, and a lit Marlboro cigarette is in his other, pinched between his pointer finger and thumb. Can you just keep an eye on things? I say to Brian. By things, I mean Charles, but I don't specify. Yeah, sure. Where are the kids? Brian asks. I tell him Michael ran home to change his shirt, and then I point toward the stage where Beth and Lucas are. For crying out loud, I groan. My gaze swings to Nicole. Damn it! What? Brian asks. His eyes follow my finger first to Beth, who is making out with her boyfriend in front of the whole damn town, and then to Nicole, who is seated at a picnic table, sipping a beer. I take a step forward, ready to march over and yell at both of them, but Brian stops me.
I'll take care of it, Laura.
Letting out a heavy sigh, I throw my hands on my hips. Those girls are going to send me to an early grave.
Now you know how your mother felt when you and I were that age and sneaking off, knocking boots, drinking beer down by the nature trail.
Brian waggles his eyebrows. Oh, stop. We weren't that bad. He kisses my forehead and whispers,
I remember you being pretty bad.
I giggle and smack my hand playfully against his chest. For a moment, it feels like we're teenagers again. But I like what we have now more. The deep connection threaded through decades, children, a home, and a life we've built together. I wouldn't give it up for the world.
All right, time to put my stern father face on,
he says, forcing his expression to turn serious. Brian plods toward Nicole like he's on a mission. He throws a silly look over his shoulder, and I can't help but laugh. Here, Mom, Michael yells. Just as I turn around, a balled-up shirt is hurling in my direction, but I catch it before it hits my face. What's this? My extra shirt because you think I'm going to drop the water balloon, too. He rolls his eyes. I don't think that, Michael. It's just better to be prepared, I say, unfolding the shirt and hanging it over my shoulder. Whatever. He shrugs and runs away, heading toward the water balloon toss. Observing the park again, my eyes stop on Charles. He flicks his cigarette butt and steps on it with his old dirty work boot, grinding it into the ground. The flapping butterflies are gone from my stomach, the ones that Brian always conjures up. In their place is a sinking feeling, a warning that something bad is about to happen. I know this because I've felt it before.
16. Beth. The house is eerily quiet as I slide out of bed and slip into a hoodie and a pair of sweatpants. I don't think I slept more than a few hours last night. And even when I did, I dreamed of Mom and Dad, and those dreams quickly morphed into nightmares I couldn't wake from. The white envelope on the nightstand catches my eye, the one with my name scrawled across it in Mom's handwriting. I want to open it, find out what she had to say, but I can't. The lawyer's words return to me. You should always respect the wishes of the dead. And so, I will. We'll spread her ashes around the property the day after tomorrow, and I'll read it then. The silver key sits beside the envelope, glinting when the light from the bedside table lamp catches it. There were no rules or last wishes surrounding the lockbox. I could open that at any time, but I'm afraid of what I'll find. I'm worried, too, about keeping our family's dark secret. It feels a little easier today, which is concerning. Yesterday, I thought I'd spew it all over the place like projectile vomit. Today, it's more like heartburn, crawling up my esophagus. Maybe tomorrow, it'll sit in my stomach, heavy, like overprocessed food that refuses to be digested. The front door slams, startling me, and then it's quiet again. I'm sure it's Michael leaving to run errands, or to get some work done at a cafe. I heard Nicole come out of her room sometime in the middle of the night. She rifled through some boxes and cupboards in the kitchen. I'm not sure what she was searching for, but hopefully she didn't steal anything. I retrieved the key from the bedside table, holding it in front of my eyes, examining it closely, and considering what to do with it. When I can't decide, I slide it between the mattress and the box spring, hiding it not only from myself, but also from my siblings. You can never be too careful. It was something my mother used to say, though I'm beginning to think she hadn't followed her own advice. Out in the kitchen, I pour myself a cup of coffee. Michael made it, and once again, it's too strong, coating my tongue like a thick oil. I don't know how he could possibly enjoy it. I glance at the clock on the wall, noting the time. Lucas will be here soon, and I'm both looking forward to it and dreading it. I want to be around him, but I don't know if I can be. Not really. Physically, yes. Mentally, I am somewhere else entirely, and I'm not sure I'll ever get back to here. The rising sun seeps through the window in the living room, bathing the stacks of boxes with a warm glow. They're spread out all over the floor, some empty, some open, some still sealed. We got through about a third of them, but none of the contents gave us any further insight as to what happened the night of June 15th, 1999, except that tape. It sits on top of the VHS/DVD player, exposed and out in the open. Anyone could walk in, pop it into the player, and see a buried truth. I consider hiding it or stowing it away, but I don't have the energy to hide anything else. And maybe I want someone to see it. This secret feels almost too heavy for the three of us to shoulder. Last night I watched that tape 12 times, searching for a clue, something to tell me what happened before Dad led Mom to Emma's body, or what may have occurred after the recording stopped. I thought the more I watched, the more I would be desensitized to it. But I wasn't. Each viewing shocked and rattled me more than the last. I guess there are some things you can't get used to. I noticed something different each time I watched it. Dad's eyes were bloodshot, like he had been crying, or maybe it was from too much drinking that night. He was never much of a drinker, though. A couple beers here or there. Mom's breathing was shallow and uncontrolled. It could have been from running from the house down to the creek, or she might have been in the midst of a panic attack. And Emma's hair was caked in blood. Some of it was dry, and some of it was wet, as though it was still pooling from her head. Knuckles rap softly against the screen door, and I meet Lucas at the threshold. He's wearing a zip-up hoodie, a baseball cap, and a pair of faded blue jeans. In each hand is a thermos, one purple, one blue. They're the same ones we used when we were teens. His smile reaches his eyes, crinkling the corners of them. "Morning," Lucas says. His voice is clear, not raspy, so I know he's been up for a while. He extends the purple thermos to me. It's cold. He remembered. I prefer my coffee iced, but I never drink it that way anymore. Too much work, too much planning, too many ice cubes to freeze. I involuntarily smile. "Cold and black," he adds, "just like my heart." We both laugh, for old time's sake. "Shall we?" he asks, gesturing. I nod, and together we walk side by side down the porch steps and up the driveway. The air is cool and damp, and the sky is a gray blanket, the sun seeping through its weakest seams. Our steps are in stride, as though they never went out of sync. At the top of the driveway, I briefly look across the street where his childhood home sits. Only it's no longer a home. It's a house. A home has joy, but they were robbed of theirs back in 1999. "So," Lucas says with a quick glance at me. He tips back his thermos. He used to take his coffee hot with 2 sugars, and I wonder if he still does. Or maybe he drinks it the same way his wife does. I wonder where she is. Perhaps at their home, waiting for him to return. "So," I say. There are only 3 houses on this road. Ours, the Harpers, and Charles Gallagher's. Ever since my dad disappeared, I got the feeling this dead-end street was cursed, given what happened to each family that lived on it. At the stop sign, Lucas takes a sharp right. He's clearly avoiding the park. His jaw clenches and doesn't relax until we turn left on another road, leaving the park behind us. The grove is quiet. Even the birds don't sing and chirp today. Houses in this town are, for the most part, modest-sized. Many are ranch-style with large yards and tall trees sprinkled throughout. It's like any other unincorporated community you couldn't find on a map. It's just a place you're either born in or you stumble upon and wonder who could live here as you pass through. Is your wife joining you? I ask. It comes out meek and awkward, and I immediately regret the question. I remember seeing his wedding photos on my Facebook feed, and although they were beautiful, I cried over them. I mourned a future he and I could have had if things happened otherwise, and then I deleted my account. I didn't have much to share with the world anyway, and seeing others happy just made me sadder. He looks over at me, gauging my expression.
No, we divorced 2 years ago.
His face remains neutral, like he's neither happy nor sad about it. I'm sorry, I say, and I think I mean it.
Nothing to be sorry about. We just wanted different things, and I'm sorry about yours, too.
I nod and press my lips together. I'd assumed Lucas knew about my divorce. My mom would have told his mom back when it happened. I never heard from him, though, not that I expected to. We tread carefully down North Road. It's steep, and our feet carry us faster than we intend. Growing up, this was the place to ride your bike because it felt like you were flying, a moment of magic for a child. The entrance to the nature trail is at the bottom of the hill, and I assume that's where Lucas is leading me, because that was our spot. What did you want? I ask.
It's not what I wanted. It's what I didn't want.
I steal a glance, taking in his sharp jawline covered in stubble, and those lips. I remember them being soft and warm. And what didn't you want?
Kids,
he says matter-of-factly. I take a sip from my thermos, unsure of how to respond. I don't remember thinking about having kids before I had one. I was only 19 when I got pregnant with Marissa. I became a mom before I ever had a chance to consider what I wanted. But now I couldn't imagine not being one. Although our relationship is strained, and my daughter is living on the other side of the world, she and I will always be connected. It's a bond that can never be severed, for the love between a mother and her child is infinite. I still feel my mom's love even though she's gone, and even after learning what she did to Emma. Our arms brush against one another. I swallow hard, pushing the dark secret down again. We enter the nature trail, which is like a tunnel cut through woods, an old railroad track without the tracks. The ground is a mix of dirt, grass, and small rocks. Large trees on either side arch over it, creating a canopy. There's a stream off to one side, but it's dried up in most areas. Nothing lasts forever. The silence between us stretches so long that I figure the subject of kids will be changed, but then Lucas continues.
After seeing what my mother and father went through when Emma disappeared, I just couldn't. My father didn't survive it, and my mom, I watched her die over and over again. Not in the literal sense, in the real sense.
He pauses, glancing over at me.
Feeling dead while your body still walks this earth is far worse than being dead.
He doesn't have to explain what he means because I know.
The day she went missing, the police kept saying the first 48 hours are the most critical, and then it came and went, and they never mentioned it again. My mother died at the 1-month mark, the 1 year, and every year since. Maybe it's the cynic in me, but I figured if I didn't have kids, I couldn't lose them.
I give him a sympathetic look. It's easy to become a cynic when you live in a cynical world, where best intentions are not true intentions, where trust feels more like a religion, not one you practice, just one you go along with in case there is a God in the end. Do you ever wish you knew what happened to her? Emma, I mean? I can't look at him when I ask the question.
No, because I know she's dead,
he says matter-of-factly. My breathing changes, short, fast, and uncontrolled. I inhale deeply, trying to even it out and steal a glimpse of him. His eyes are narrowed, staring at the long, dark tunnel ahead of us. There is no light at the end of it.
She's been missing for 23 years, and it's highly unlikely she's just out there living her life. There's an ounce of me that believes otherwise, but if I knew what happened to her, I'd lose that crumb of hope. My eyes feel wet, and I blink until the moisture dries up. Maybe Nicole and Michael are right. It's best to leave the past in the past because knowing what's true doesn't change anything. I drink from the thermos, pushing down whatever it is that feels stuck in my throat. It could be guilt, grief, remorse. It might even be the truth, my body trying to regurgitate it like it's a poison it needs to rid itself of. Mom keeps asking about her too. With the dementia, sometimes she forgets Emma ever went missing. I've had to remind her a few times. Watch her grieve that loss over and over. Lucas shakes his head. But lately I lie. Tell her she's at a friend's house or out riding her bike. They're tiny moments of reprieve for her, but I think they're more for me. She'll smile and talk about Emma like she's been here the whole time. Maybe I'm wrong for that.
He shrugs. I don't think you're wrong. If I could have done the same for my mom, I would have. He blows out his cheeks, and it's my turn to receive a sympathetic look.
Yeah, your dad. I'm really sorry, Beth.
I don't say anything because there's really nothing to say.
It's been 7 years, right?
He asks. It's specific. Too specific. He clearly knows it's been that long. I nod. Neither of us say anything for nearly a minute. We just walk. Branches sway in the wind. Leaves let go one by one, cascading to the ground, finally accepting their fate. They'll break down, creating a layer of rot and decay at a tree's base, which will protect it through the winter, absorbing rainfall and providing nutrients. Even in death, they still have a purpose. A black cat darts out of the woods 10 yards in front of us and stops suddenly, lifting a front paw and craning its neck in our direction. Its yellow eyes glow like fireflies. It continues its route, scurrying into the woods again. A black cat crossed my path the day my dad went missing, too. I remember thinking to myself, I should turn back. At least that's what people say you're supposed to do. Otherwise, bad luck will find you. And it did. Lucas finally speaks.
Do you ever wish you knew what happened to your dad?
Yeah. I pause, looking over at him. It's the not knowing that kills me. A mixture of hope and grief is toxic, like combining ammonia and bleach. On their own, you can stand it at least for a little while, but together, it's deadly. I quickly look away from him as soon as I utter the word deadly. The image of Emma's lifeless body, lying down by the creek, flashes before my eyes. It's horrifying. Something I'll never be able to unsee. He doesn't say anything, and I wonder if I said the wrong thing. We cut out of the nature trail through a small clearing that feeds into the dead end. They call it that because it's the main road in town, and it just stops like there was no point in going any farther. It's where this side of the grove ends. The other side ends on our street, just 1 mile away. Asphalt forms a circle large enough for a vehicle to turn around and go back, designed specifically for a school bus. A guardrail wraps around half of it, a warning not to venture past the barricade where the grass and trees grow wild and untamed. As children, adults told us that those who'd gone in there never came back. We didn't listen, though. We used to climb over the guardrail and dare one another to venture farther and farther. Nothing ever happened. We always came back in one piece. But it was here where they found Emma's bicycle, pink with white tassels hanging from each handlebar. It appeared months after she went missing, like the wild grass and woods had spit it up. Kids stopped crossing the guardrail after that, fearing that the warnings from our parents were true. I know now it was all a lie. All of it. I write an email to my dad every week, I say, and I don't even know why I mention it. I've never told anyone, not even Mom, because I'm embarrassed. It's like I'm a child too old to still believe in Santa Claus.
Does it help?
Lucas asks as we head down the main road back toward our houses. I don't know. The grove is still asleep. Cars sit idle in driveways. Drapes are drawn. Fog lingers over dewy yards. It's both peaceful and haunting.
What do you write to him?
Stupid stuff, really. Basically what I would tell him if he were here. Movies or shows I'm watching, books I'm reading, things that have happened around me or to me.
That's not stupid. At the very least, it must be cathartic.
I think Lucas is just being nice. Because who sends over 300 emails without ever getting a response? My ex would say a crazy person, someone who isn't grounded in reality, someone frozen in time. And maybe he's right. Maybe I'm all of those things. Yeah, I guess. I like to think he's reading them, even though he's never replied. Lucas nods and drinks from his thermos. I sent him one last night, telling him about Mom. My voice cracks just mentioning her. If he doesn't reply, I'll finally know that he's gone for good. And I'll let him go. The weight of my words forces my shoulders to drop and my lip to quiver. It's hard to swallow again, and I feel my eyes filling with tears. I don't want to cry, but it feels like I have to, like I don't have a choice in the matter. I read about crying once, when I couldn't stop after Dad left. I wanted to know why it happens or what the point of it is. What I learned is that no one knows for sure. One theory is that it tells others we're in pain, triggering a human connection. Emotional tears are thicker, fatty sacs of protein. They fall slowly, clinging to our cheeks, declaring to those around us that we need help, that we cannot cope on our own. And I think that's where I'm at. It's where I've been for a very long time, stuck, unable to endure, to persist, to live. Lucas places a hand on my shoulder and turns to face me. He looks into my eyes, but I'm not looking back. I can't. Those fat, emotional tears escape, telling him more than I could ever say with words. But he understands, and he pulls me into his chest, resting his chin on my head as he holds me. I sob, my body quaking and trembling against his. And although I'm falling apart, somehow I feel whole in his arms. That is why we cry.
17. Nicole. I thought I knew everything about my mother, until I started reading her journals. You can know a person your whole life, but never really know them, because they only have to show you what they want you to see. I didn't know she felt insecure as a mother. I didn't know she was afraid she'd raise us wrong, make a mistake that would permanently damage us in some way or another. I didn't know she blamed herself for my addiction. And I didn't know how much she truly loved us. She doesn't write about the night of June 15th, 1999. She alludes to it, but the entry is hieroglyphically cryptic. She refers to it as the night everything changed. The night that made her question every moment of her life that led up to it. The night that shook her faith. And most terrifying of all, the night she realized monsters walk among us. I pick up my mug of coffee from the kitchen table and take a drink. It's lukewarm now, but I don't mind because I just want the caffeine. Another drug to distract my brain from craving a much stronger one. My hand trembles as I set the cup back down and flip another page. I read every word deliberately, because I know each one was written for a reason, whether it was hastily scribbled down or not. Mom's journals are sometimes like a word dump, as though she's just trying to get it all out. Other times it's poetic, like she's taking her time, making sure it's just right. A few lines jump out at me. Even if I could dig a hole deep enough to reach the center of the earth, I still couldn't bury this. I always tried to do the right thing, but somewhere along the way it all went wrong. You don't believe in monsters until you're living with one. And even then, you don't believe until you're looking in the mirror. realizing you've become one of them. I notice there are pages missing, specifically around June 15th. The frayed edges caught in the metal spiral are evidence of written truths tossed away. Why'd she even write them down to begin with? Perhaps it was cathartic to tell someone her story, even if it was just a blank page. I can understand that. There are many truths that I have written only for myself, because some stories aren't meant to be shared. The front screen door squeaks open. I lift my head to find Beth walking in and kicking off her shoes. Her face is flushed and puffy, and her bloodshot eyes look like baseballs with red stitching. She's been crying, and I'd ask her what's wrong, but I'm still mad at her for calling me a junkie and a crackhead. It's true, but that doesn't mean she should say it. How was your walk with Lucas? I study her face, trying to gauge her expression. Did she tell Lucas about Emma? She said she wouldn't unless we found something more concrete. But I'm not sure I believe her. Fine. She retrieves a glass from a cupboard and fills it with tap water. And no, I didn't tell him about Emma, she says, not looking at me. I didn't ask. You didn't have to. She tips the glass back and drinks almost half of it. It's nearly impossible to hide anything from Beth. She was the first one to even suspect my addiction. I think she knew before me, if that makes any sense. I thought I was just having fun, and didn't realize I wasn't until the chase became my whole life, and the high was just a means to an end. My mother knew next, but it took her longer. Parents have a blind spot for their children. Beth takes a couple of steps toward the kitchen table, eyeing the spirals laid out before me. Find anything interesting? She asks. Interesting isn't the right word, so I'm not sure how to answer her. I'd use that word to describe a new fact I discovered. Like when I learned that 3 days after death, the enzymes that help break down a person's food begin to eat their own body. I thought that was interesting. These journals are different, though, and I don't think there's a word to describe them. No, I say, but some of the pages are missing around that night. Beth raises her brow. Did she tear them out? She must have. I consider offering her a journal to read, but Mom left them to me. I didn't get much, just these and her old car that I'm not sure even runs anymore. If Mom wanted anyone else to read them, she would have split them up, given a third to each of us, but she didn't, so they're mine. Maybe they're around here somewhere. Beth looks at all the boxes in the living room. Some opened, some closed, some empty, some full. Yeah, maybe, I say, stacking up the journals. I need a break from them. I fell asleep reading her words, and when I woke up this morning, I returned to them. Is Michael back? She asks. I shake my head. Should we start without him? Actually, I need to go in for my... I pause, searching for the right word. Treatment? I'm not sure that's the right one either. I'm still taking opiates, synthetic ones, just in smaller doses. The doctor is hopeful that I'll only need it for a year. But I wonder, will I be able to live without the methadone too? Can you take me? I add. I don't want to ask her for help, because I know she grew tired of helping me a year ago. I can't blame her, though. I've always had a tendency to look for the highs in life, even before the car accident. In my 20s, it was weed, alcohol, and cocaine whenever I could get my hands on it. But I was functioning, until I got a taste for something stronger. Much stronger than myself. It was the oxy the doctors prescribed. They kept me on it for far too long, and then they cut me off cold turkey without a plan in place. So I made a plan of my own. Get high or die trying. And I almost did, many times. But that didn't stop me. Addiction is like having your arm in a vice. You can't loosen the grip. You can't pull away. You just have to learn to live with it. Addiction has made me do the worst things to the people I love most. Beth being one of them. So like I said, I can't blame her for no longer wanting to help me. But I can still hate her for it. Maybe that's the addiction talking. I really don't know anymore. Sure, Beth says. Her voice is soft, and the word comes out slow like she had to force it out. Let me change quick, she adds. Let me change quick. I wish that applied to more than just outfits.
18. Beth. The car idles outside of the run-down treatment center. It sits in a strip mall a couple towns over, positioned between a Dollar General and one of those scammy quick loan places where your interest seems to accrue by the minute. One of the windows has been boarded up with plywood. I assume someone wanted their treatment after hours. The rest of the windows have the shades drawn, providing privacy, or hiding what goes on behind those doors. People far more broken than my sister enter and exit the clouded glass door. From what I've read online, most of them will relapse. Nicole unbuckles her seatbelt and climbs out of the vehicle. Want me to come in with you? I offer. No, I won't be long, she says. You sure? She slams the door shut. Either she didn't hear me or she didn't care to respond. She disappears inside the clinic. I tap my fingers against the steering wheel just to busy them, keep my mind focused before it strays. There's a light drizzle. Beads of rain hit the windshield, slithering down the glass. They stop when the liquid is depleted. Nothing else to keep the momentum going. I pull out my cell phone and first check my missed calls. I tried calling Marissa last night, but it went to voicemail and I didn't leave a message. She hasn't returned my call. I check my email next. It's the 9th time I've looked at it this morning. It's all junk, minus an email from HR asking if I have an update as to when I'll return to work from FMLA leave. There's no reply from my father. He and I used to email back when my parents got a computer for the family. Well, it was mostly for Michael, but we all used it. I remember him telling me it helped with his typing skills. Dad went from pecking to actually having all his fingers on the keyboard. As he improved, his emails got longer. The first couple dozen he sent were only a few sentences in length, but I'm sure they took an hour each. They were riddled with typos, and sometimes I could barely understand what he was trying to tell me. He'd send one in the wee hours of the morning before he left for the factory, and then I'd have to wait until he got home from work to ask him about his cryptic emails. He'd laugh and tell me I'd understand the next one better. And I always did, until they stopped. I glance up at the door leading to the treatment center. Another broken person scurries in, and another exits. It's been 15 minutes. I shut the car off and cautiously get out of the vehicle, clutching my keys in my hand. This isn't a good part of town. Honestly, I don't think there are any good parts in any town. Some areas just hide their indiscretions better. I make my way inside so quickly the rain barely touches me. There's a line of people, waiting for their next fix in order to halt the withdrawals. Nicole's not in it, so I cut to the front. A man growls at me. I apologize and tell him I'll be quick. I'm looking for my sister, Nicole Thomas, I say to the woman sitting behind a bulletproof window. She wears a scowl like it's tattooed on her face. I don't blame her, though. This wouldn't be an easy place to work. The woman inputs her name into the computer. She went in for her dose 10 minutes ago, so she should have come out already. Must have left through the back. The woman points to the hallway off to her side. Before I can thank her, she's already yelling, "Next!" and shooing me away. I pass by medical staff and patients. Every one of them looks tired, and I don't believe it's from a lack of sleep. I think they're tired of life. Sometimes life gets old before we do. There's a parking lot in the back for the staff. I pull my hood up and scan the area. There she is at the far corner. She's talking with a man. He's tall, towering over my sister, dressed in a rain jacket and dark jeans. Then there's some sort of an exchange. He hands her a large manila envelope. She glances around and quickly shoves it into her bag. "Nicole!" I scream as I run across the lot toward her. My damaged knee throbs, but I ignore the pain. Her head snaps in my direction, eyes wide. The man turns to look at me and then moves to the side, so he's standing next to Nicole rather than in front of her. "What the hell are you doing?" I yell at her the same way Mom used to, whenever she came home late from curfew. I don't even look at the man. He's insignificant, just a bridge to her addiction. "Are you fucking using again?" "What? No!" she says vehemently. Her eyes are wild, and her jaw moves from side to side. I grab at her bag. She tries to fight me, swinging aimlessly with her arm that's cocooned in a fiberglass cast, but I'm bigger and stronger. Nearly a decade of drug use has made both her mind and her body weak. "Then what the hell is this?" I snatch the manila envelope from inside her bag and hold it up. It's thick and heavy. "Give that back to me!" she yells, reaching for it, trying to swipe it away. "What is it, Nicole?" "It's the goddamn case file for Emma Harper's disappearance," she huffs. Her fleshy lids narrow, hiding those green eyes that have clouded over the years. She reaches for it again, but this time I let her take it from my hand. I take a step back and finally look at the man standing next to her. I recognize him immediately. Casey Dunn. He was a grade below me and a grade above Nicole. They were friends in high school, just friends, but everyone knew there was something more between them. They just never figured it out. The two of them bonded over their love for the written word. I was surprised when he went on to become a deputy for the Walworth County Sheriff's Office. I'm sure he's much higher up now. But I always figured he'd be an English professor or a writer or something like that. I thought the same for Nicole, but obviously she took a very different path than anyone expected. We all did. "Hey, Beth," he says. His voice is deep, and there's an air of authority behind it. He's not that skinny little teenage boy anymore. He's filled out now with wide shoulders and a thick neck. His face is clean-shaven, free of the acne that speckled it in high school, and he's traded in that shaggy hair for a buzz cut. I deliver a tight smile. "Nice to see you, Casey." Nicole crosses her arms in front of her chest and juts out her bony hip. Sorry isn't enough for her, but of course that's where my mind went. Why else would she be meeting someone in the back parking lot of a methadone clinic? "How have you been?" Casey asks. "I mean, never mind, that was a stupid question." He rubs his brow and mutters, "I'm sorry about your mom." It's not a stupid question, though. It's what people ask. And the answer is always fine or good, because no one wants to actually hear how you're doing. "Thanks." I fold in my lips. "Are you still with the Walworth County Sheriff's Office?" He nods. "Yep, going on nearly 20 years. I'm actually in the Detective Bureau now." My eyes flick to Nicole for a moment. She and Michael fought me on telling anyone about the tape, and now she's going out of her way to uncover what happened. I wonder if Casey finds it suspicious that she's interested in the case after all these years. What did she tell him? What reason did she give him for wanting that information? "Congrats," I say, though I'm not even sure that's the right thing to say. My gaze bounces back and forth between Nicole and Casey. It's like we're in a standoff, but no one has a gun. Well, actually, there's probably one hiding beneath Casey's raincoat, tucked in the waist of his jeans or nestled in a holster. But in this case, the gun is the truth, and only Nicole and I are holding it. "Are you done?" Nicole directs her question at me. Her tone is full of attitude, and she taps her foot against the pavement. What's with the case file? I need to know how she convinced him to swipe it. "Nicole messaged me, asking if I had access to it and if I could get it for her," Casey starts to explain, but Nicole interrupts. "Yeah, for the true crime book I'm writing about Emma Harper's disappearance. Remember, Beth?" She raises an eyebrow, her way of telling me to go along with her story. "Oh, yeah, that. I thought it was just an idea. I didn't know you were serious about it. My words weave together, forming a somewhat convincing lie. I glance at Casey. His face is unchanged, so I think he's buying it.
Now you know.
Nicole cocks her head. Casey clears his throat.
It's great that you're doing that. Obviously, we were teens when she disappeared, but I always thought it was sad that they never found out what happened to her, he says. Things like buttons and keys go missing. People shouldn't.
He shakes his head and then gestures to the envelope.
At one point in time, that was the most important case file in this county. Now no one even noticed me taking it. It's like a toy a child's lost interest in.
We stand there in silence, unsure of what to say. It's true. The case went cold after the first year. People forgot. Children played in the streets past dark again. It was like it never happened. Casey pushes his sleeve up to check the time.
I've got to get going,
he says to Nicole.
It was good seeing you, Beth.
Likewise.
And, Nicole.
His eyes swing to her and his face softens.
Let me know if you need anything else. I mean anything. I'm here.
Nicole smiles.
Thanks, Casey.
She leaves unsaid the words I know she wants to say.
I'll text you.
He nods and heads to his vehicle. I don't say anything until he's out of earshot. You could have just told me, Nicole.
I don't have to tell you anything,
she says, stomping back toward the treatment center. Nicole's always been that way. Closed off. Almost sneaky. She's lied for so long about her addiction and the things she's done that I don't think she knows where the truth starts and ends.
19. Laura. June 15th, 1999. There's a knock at the front door. It's frantic, and I know immediately something is very wrong. My eyes go to Nicole, who is on the couch writing in her journal. Michael and Beth are lying on the floor, bellies down, elbows propped up, playing Zombies Ate My Neighbors on Sega. Brian is seated in his recliner, half watching the video game, half reading the newspaper opened in his lap. It's after 8 p.m., and my family is all accounted for. My mind always goes there. Always. I set my book down and jump from my seat. If it's Christy, tell her I'm not home, Beth calls over her shoulder, never taking her eyes off the TV screen. I groan at her teenage callousness as I make my way to the front door. The knocking continues, harder and faster. I swing it open to find Susan standing on the other side. Her face is a crumpled, wet mess, and her bottom lip trembles. Susan, what's going on? Are you okay? Emma's missing, she cries. Have you seen her? Is she here? Her words come out like the knocks on the door, hard and fast and frantic. What? What do you mean? No, she's not here. She lets out a howl of a cry. Eddie and I can't find her. I pull Susan in for a hug and hold her tightly. A missing child is every parent's worst nightmare, and although it's not happening to me, I'm terrified.
What is it?
Brian's voice calls out. I glance over my shoulder to find him standing behind me with a look of bewilderment. They can't find Emma. Suddenly, I'm crying too. Brian shoves his feet into his work boots, foregoing lacing them up, and grabs the keys to his truck.
Did you call the police?
Susan lets go of me and nods several times. They're on their way.
When was the last time you saw her?
He asks. His eyes are slits, focusing on Susan, waiting for her response. I don't know. Her voice is basically a whisper. Sometime at the fundraiser, after the sack race, but before the egg toss, I think. Her bike is missing too. She was there, and then I assumed... I don't know what I assumed. I was so preoccupied with everything. I should have been watching her. I should have never taken my eyes off of her. But Allen's Grove is a small town and nothing bad happens here. It's safe. Susan cries harder. Anything can happen anywhere at any time. That's the thought that crosses my mind, but I don't say it out loud. It's not your fault, I say instead, rubbing my hand on her shoulder, trying to reassure her. But I know the only comfort will come from bringing Emma home. We're going to find her. She's probably just out riding her bike. What's going on? Beth asks, standing just behind her father. Her eyes are wide, darting between me and Susan. Nicole and Michael are positioned beside her, giving me the same look. When was the last time any of you saw Emma? I ask. Beth answers first. At the fundraiser? When she won the sack race, Nicole adds. Michael nods. The water balloon toss, he says. Her team got second place. The image of Emma slapping her knee and giggling at her joke of being better than the boys comes to mind. The first place blue ribbon pinned to her shirt, the orange mood ring adorning her small finger, and then her sprinting away to compete in another game, determined to win all the contests. Where's Lucas? Beth asks. He's out looking for her. Susan sniffles, trying to compose herself, but it's no use. There's no composure in these situations. Beth slips on her tennis shoes and asks, Where? He went to check the nature trail, Susan says. Can I go? Beth's eyes dart to me. They're almost pleading. I know she wants to comfort Lucas, to be there for him, to help him. They're a package deal, have been for years. Take Nicole with you and stay together. I mean it. The two of them nod, and within 30 seconds, they're bolting out the door with Nicole trailing behind. I'm going to drive around and see if I spot her, Brian says, planting a quick kiss on the side of my head. He places his hand on Susan's shoulder. We're going to find her. She nods, but the tears still fall. Brian leaves quickly with Michael following him. Let's go back to your house and wait for the police to arrive, I say to Susan, steering her out the door. She nods again, but I don't think she's listening. I hope Emma is out just riding her bike and that she'll walk through their door with a smile on her face and some fun stories of her adventures. But something deep in my gut tells me otherwise.